Welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast, in association with Simco Training. This is the weekly podcast where we share best practice, tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your dealership or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett. Now, some of you probably already know me as Skippy. I want to start by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. So I've got to get your view on the A word, agency. Now, all of these new brands coming through, you mentioned Volvo there, going agency, I believe, next year. Land Rover going agency next year. What's with your ears to the ground, speaking to lots of dealers, is there lots of concern out there from investors about agency?
I'd say there is a lot of concern out of there, for agency. What I've certainly noticed is when I initially set up this business, Specialist Car Buy, was purely to actually supply cars into the automotive industry. Mm-hmm. What I've found is that there's more people coming on board looking for advice and looking to basically join private office that we have. So we're looking to expand. We're bringing more people on board to effectively run that side. If the agencies or the dealers were, and no disrespect to anybody, but if they were doing the job right, there'd be no need for us to do that. So I think, the agency is a problem. It is a problem certainly in the marketplace because the manufacturer may know the person that buys the car, but the person that buys the car is, quite seldomly not the influencer, not the person that makes the decision. It's normally a family decision, or it's the children see the car on Instagram, what have you. A salesperson knows the whole family. If they're a good salesperson and they get good repeat retention, referral business, they know it's not only an individual, they know the whole family and they get repeat referral business. If people are buying cars online, new cars online, that's lost.
But I suppose with agency, it's not just buying cars online. It is just, we're not going to discount it. I think there's still going to be people who walk into a traditional dealership. I think some of the people want to go direct selling. Some of the Chinese might try direct selling. Do you know any of them who are going direct selling to start with?
They're coming into the marketplace in Europe and they're doing direct customer, but they're also looking at, establishing partners as well. So, there's a new emerging brand coming in, but they recognise that they need to have partners on the ground as well, and that's an opportunity that shouldn't be overlooked. The agency-based model, I understand what you're saying about Volvo. Lotus, for example, just now you buy a Lotus online and you effectively, the dealer gets a handling fee for looking after that transaction. It will work for certain individuals, but won't work for all. And my concern I have is a broad brush effect happening in the industry.
Well, I want to get your view. So with the agency model, we understand that the dealer gets the handling fee. And of course, there's lots of different types of agency models they're talking about out there. But the bit that I haven't got my head around, there's always got to be an element of push in the dealer world. So speaking to Dale Wyatt from Suzuki, they're always going to build cars 18 months down the track that market doesn't want. That must be incredibly difficult to find out where the market's going to be in 18 months down the track. So invariably with the dealer model, when they've got a whole lot of stuff that they haven't got, they would, through pre-reg exercises, force the market. We know how it works. Market works very well. Mr. Clark, we started talking about right at the beginning. He was a master of going to, from what I understand, going to the manufacturers and say, okay, I'll buy all those vehicles for this figure. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
But under agency, they can't do that. So what does the manufacturer have? Does this pump a whole lot of cars into daily rental to the brokers? Is it great for that side of the business so they don't devalue it, the products themselves? Do they actually just do what Elon Musk did and discount the car by 10, 15% there and upset the people who bought the car beforehand? That's something I want to get your views on. How do they get their head around that side of it? And I don't know, agency's been going long enough anywhere yet for them to overcome that issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing they need to establish before they really go into it is gaining consumer confidence. You know, it's a large investment. It's a large amount of money people spend on their cars, and okay, everyone's all retrospective, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, that person needs to have confidence in the product they're buying. If they're going to go down the route of the Tesla route, which I think is probably questionable now, whether that is the correct route to go down, because whilst it's been successful, as you rightly said earlier on, there's people in those cars, taking delivery of those cars, spent a lot of money on those cars to find that they're getting discounted, but not only once, but twice. And that's because the marketplace is that competitive a marketplace. You know, if brands are going to sit back and wait and be reactive, that's going to be a big problem. They need to be proactive about how they approach things and what they do. And the best people to deal with that are the people on the ground, you know, the people at the dealership level. You know, if somebody's coming in for a car to be serviced, for example, and if that individual salesperson goes and talks to them and talks to them about buying a car. I mean, I've heard stories where they do a deal and then the person goes up the road and they select a different dealership, but that individual in that dealership has done the job, doesn't get paid and doesn't get rewarded for it because maybe there's a dealer that's closer to home.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. From what I've heard to some of our dealer friends in the Australian market, where Mercedes has already gone ahead with it, there would be some evidence of top salespeople leaving that brand and going somewhere else. But as an investor, is that a bad thing? Can I actually employ people who aren't as highly paid? Can I employ people from the hotel industry that just looks after people there? They don't need that negotiation skills. They just need to be what you said before with Porsche. Okay, just the experience, just maintain the experience. Surely that'll be better for the consumer, will it?
It could be better with the consumer, but it's all down to the strength of your brand. You know, that's where that comes down to. A lot of people need to, a bit of a reality check needs to take place, because not every brand out there has got the same strength and pull and draw as, say, for example, Porsche has. You know, and Porsche operate with salespeople. They operate with very, very highly intelligent individuals who are salespeople. They don't have, you know, people on the ground. It's not like walking into an Apple iStore. They have people who are very intelligent. They're there to assist and help, but ultimately do a selling job because of that ownership journey. They're looking to get people on board. They don't sell just one car. They sell the dream. The dream is that this is your car for now, then we'll get you into this other car and another car further down the line. It's fantastic. But, you know, if you're no disrespect to somebody in a Vauxhall garage or a Toyota dealership, managing that is a totally different way of doing it. It's a totally different sell. So you really need to have the people on the ground who are, you know, entrepreneurial, you know, people who are prepared to, you know, discuss, chat, and sell the product. Because the product we have out there just now in the UK is phenomenal. You know, really got some really good offerings. But again, Simon, it's all down to, you know, how you speak to people, how you interact with them, that first, you know, time customer engagement. You know, have you visited the centre before? Instead of asking the question of, can we help you? Have you visited before? If it's a yes, fantastic. What brings you back? You know, the smile, you know, that interaction, the warm handshake, all these small elements all work to give a good customer experience. And that's, you know, I think where the problem is with a lot of the agency-based models, they need to have a strong look at it. They need to have a better blend to it. I'm not saying it's not going to work. What I would say is they need to be careful that they don't lose that interpersonal element.
I think it's the tide is coming. I think we need to get a head around agency. We've had some people here that said, hold on, it's going to be a complete failure. I'm not entirely sure it is. I think the way it's been introduced in some markets has been the issue, but lessons will be learned from that. I don't think it's going to be all bad there, but I just think we need to change. One bit, again, I don't get is, you know, we're not going to discount. So we've got the OEM that has to be setting the price also of the trade-in. Okay. Surely as dealers, we're going to have to get better at used cars. Okay. Everyone's going to be looking at used car centers where they are. We know the market is right there. Service, we need to make sure we look after service because that's where we're going to make ourselves difference. But I suppose the question is, someone at an OEM head office going to agree that, hey, the trade-in prices on that car is going to be 102% a cap or 98% a cap or 106% a cap? That side of it, I suppose, is it'd be interesting.
Have a wry smile on my face because that's where we come in. That's how we especially in the specialist car sector. There's a service there that we provide to private individuals, and that is they can approach us and we'll search the marketplace. We don't operate in the same way as a lot of other businesses operate. I mean, there's several different ways to move your car on. You just have to look at motorways. I mean, they've been phenomenally successful in that industry.
Yep.
In that platform, and you have, for example, collected cars as well, another different platform. There's different ways of doing it. OEMs, unfortunately, they'll look at a cap code, they'll look at cap guide, and they'll either get it wrong or they'll get it right. And when I say when they get it wrong is because the guide doesn't necessarily get it right all the time.
Yeah.
Cars have, for example, individual specification to them that enhances the value of them, but also can detract the value from them as well. So it all comes down to, how they handle that. And I think that's down to the dealer network to capitalize on that opportunity. And that's where they really need to, that's their strength, that's their bread and butter. They know what to do there.
So with your business, the vast majority of your business, are you finding specialist cars for dealer? Are you providing underwriting situations? Or how much of it now is that buying service where someone comes along and says, right, I want that 911 GTS, go and find it for me. Tell us about the business.
Yeah, so what we do is we'll, basically, if somebody makes an inquiry with us, I mean, old school motor trade, if they make an inquiry with their current car just now, and they want to move that car on, the question is asked, what is their plan to do? What is their journey? Can we help them out? We make them aware of what we can do as well. For example, I had a chap a couple of days ago looking for a 911 Targa 4 GTS. Something you cannot get, something you have to wait, an 18-month lead time. We managed to source the car, a brand new vehicle for him. So the opportunity in the market is there. You just have to look at it in real time as opposed to actually just immerse yourself into guides, indications, and price your cars retrospectively to what the market's performing like right now.
Okay then. Okay. Well, listen, and I really appreciate it. It's interesting to see what's going to happen there. The price of used cars, I want to finish off on this. They kept on going up. How many months in a row have they gone up there? I want to get your view there. Are they continue to go up there? Are they going to come off a cliff like they did in 2008? Was it 2009? I remember Range Rover Sports were coming down in the guy, 5,000 a month. Are we going to see that again, or is it going to be continue going up or stable towards the end of the year?
I think the truth of that, Matt, the truth of the answer up to that one is we don't really know. To be truthful, Simon, I think we're all very, very cautious about it. Is that at some point, it is going to go by the wayside. But currently, just now, particularly within the specialist car side of thing, element is there's no cars, or there's a lack of supply of cars, or there's a perceived lack of supply of vehicles. And perception is what it all comes down to, is how it drives things going forward. You have to look at, how many used cars have been built, how many new cars were built over the last 3 years with COVID, so that has an effect on things as well. So yeah, used car prices are probably at the highest point they've been for some considerable time. Will it maintain that? Probably for a period of time again as well. As soon as supply changes in new cars, that's when it will tail off.
Yeah, and I don't think the supply of new cars is going to come. Well, it's getting better and better all the time there. Be interesting to see where the back quarter of the year is going to be there. Again, tell us about your software, because you said there that the cars are over 90 days and the 60 to 90 days. You develop your own software to go and scrape the internet to get all this information, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not scared to admit it. I was a bit of a geek back in the 2000s and did computing at college, and basically managed to develop software that allows me to effectively read what there is out there in the marketplace across different market media streams. All runs off of effectively insertion dates. Some have insertion dates are visible, some have it in their code. But allows us to basically look at stock turn, what is selling, where it's selling regionally, how is it performing, and it'll drill down into colour and specification as well. So it's good. It's a major benefit for us. It allows us to, I wouldn't say guarantee, we can't guarantee, but what we can do is, reduce, shall we say, the cost of ownership in some cars.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting. So it's really what Auto Trade and all that information. But again, you're dealing with that specialist car world there. So you're looking at that. And you're not just looking at Auto Trade. I take it you're doing over lots of different platforms. So
piston heads, everything, all of the other media streams. The good thing about it is, I've been in the market, we've been in this sector for quite a considerable period of time, for about 8 years. And the industry is different from, shall we say, not just normal cars, but at the same time, it does have its pitfalls, as you rightly said earlier on. Cars depreciate, £5,000-10,000. It's lots of money, a lot of money. So you need to have, it's all data derived. You have to have something in place. You can't just put the finger up and go, right, what way is the wind going to go now?
Yeah. Listen, Kenneth, I've really enjoyed that conversation. Thank you so much for your time there. That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn. Thank you.